Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I'm happy I can still chat with you, and Miss Sarah and I can throw out some Sunday school lessons and learnings from Jesus and our Bible. I just want to take a quick minute and remind everybody that we're doing a card drive. So get out your markers, construction paper, things to glue on, and let's send some positive vibes, some encouragement to our frontline, our grocery stores, police, fire department, paramedics, hospitals, anybody that's out there working to keep us safe and healthy and protected at a crazy time like this, and even fed. So just remember, you can drop those cards off in a plastic bag at Panther Valley Ecumenical Church. There'll be a basket outside for you. Or if you wish to drop them off directly to Hackettstown Hospital, there are blue bins. Just make sure that you wash your hands and sanitize. Put the card in a plastic bag, and then take that sealed plastic bag over to those blue bins. Hopefully we can get a bunch of cards, and I know with your help we'll be able to spread a lot of encouragement and love to our local community. So without further ado, we're going to talk a little bit today about Jesus and how he walked on water and showed one of his disciples that he could too with a little bit of faith. Our scripture will be Matthew chapter 14, verses 22 through 33. All right? Immediately after this, Jesus insisted that his disciples get back into the boat and cross to the other side of the lake while he sent the people home. After sending them home, he went up to the hills by himself to pray. Now night fell while he was there alone. Meanwhile, the disciples were in trouble far away from land, for a strong wind had risen, and they were fighting heavy waves. About 3 o'clock in the morning, Jesus came toward them, walking on the water. When the disciples saw him walking on the water, they were terrified. In fear, they cried out, "It's a ghost!" But Jesus spoke to them. "Don't be afraid," he said. "Take courage, for I am here." Then Peter called to him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went over to the other side of the boat and walked on the water to Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he cried out. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. "You have so little faith," Jesus said. "Why did you doubt me?" When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshipped him. "You really are the Son of God," they exclaimed. Here, we come at a point right after Jesus had just performed a miracle with the bread and the fish. And he sent all the townspeople home that he had made the miracle for, to show who he truly was and that he was the Son of God. And he wanted something else. He wanted to teach the disciples a lesson and teach them a little bit about themselves. A lot of times we're scared and we're nervous and we don't think that we can do certain things because it just seems like it's not in our capability. But with Jesus, things become much easier for us to accomplish. And he wanted to show them that, which is why when Peter, the ever-curious disciple that he was, asked Jesus to make him walk on water, Jesus said, "Sure." And he had Peter walk out. But what happened is what always happens and quite often happens to us. We doubt. Even when things are going good, we get a little nervous and we doubt, just like Peter did. He saw the wind and he saw the waves, and so he got nervous. Earlier in the Bible, it says, people who doubt are like waves of the sea. The wind blows and crashes them around. So Peter was a lot like what that scripture says. He doubted Jesus, and he was a lot like those waves because he was in those waves and he started to get scared and he started to sink. But he knew there was one thing he could do in order to stop himself from sinking while he was doubting. And that was to reach out to Jesus. And if we reach out to Jesus, no matter what we're doubting, he will lend us a helping hand. So whether it be in prayer or praise, make sure that you are reaching out to Jesus, because he is there to save us. And He is there to help us walk on water even through the stormiest parts of our life. Right now is a stormy time for all of us. We're worried, we're nervous, we're not sure exactly what's going on or when it'll change. And so what we need to do is we need to step on up, have faith in ourselves, reach out to Jesus, and walk on the seas of life that we are in right now. With a little bit of love and a little bit of faith, we will make it through this, just like Peter was able to step out on that boat and find Jesus while walking on water. Miss Sarah is going to have a lesson for you in the forms of an activity, so I hope that you'll stick around. You're going to need a couple things. You'll need a tub of water, a lot like last week. You'll need some paper clips, so make sure you get those, and you'll need some good old-fashioned dish soap. So, get your water, paper clips, and dish soap, and go hang out with Miss Sarah. See ya, everybody.
Hi, everybody. I am back with all of the supplies. I have our water here. We have paper clips. Now, you can use big paper clips or small ones, whatever you have. They can be colored or they can be just plain silver, whatever you can find lying around. I also have our dish soap and my boat from last week. Thank you, Riley, for sending me a picture of your boat. I loved seeing your very cool boat. I'm glad you were able to try it out and get it to float. Now, if you haven't done your boat yet, you can still have time to make your boat. This activity works. You can have time to test your boat as well as do the rest of this activity. So, all right, let's keep going. Last week, when things got tough, the winds picked up, the storm came, Jesus was on the boat with the disciples. Now, you know from Mr. Dan's story that this time Jesus wasn't there. So they couldn't just say, wake up, wake up, wake up, calm the sea. We're scared. Instead, they didn't really have Jesus to turn to. But when they looked out from the boat, they saw what they thought was a ghost. What ended up being Jesus walking to them. And he was walking on water. And I don't know about you guys, but if I tried to walk on water, I'd sink to the bottom. Now, I do know how to swim, but that's not the same as walking on water. And Jesus was walking on water. And Peter, having faith in Jesus, wanted to prove that faith a little, I think, and said, Jesus, let me come out to you, call me to you. And Jesus helped Peter walk on water. So I want you to stop for a second and make Jesus. Now, I took my white paper clip and I pulled it apart so it made an L. Okay. Now, Jesus was there walking across the water. Peter stepped out. Oh, hold on. Rewind. Let me try one more time. Yeah, let's flip it around. And with Jesus' help, Peter was able to walk on water. Now, the waves were coming, the wind was whipping, and Peter took his eyes off Jesus. And what did Mr. Dan call that? Doubt, right? All of a sudden, doubt crept in. Well, our soap is going to represent doubt. Peter was walking on water. He took his eyes off Jesus. A little bit of doubt creeped in. And just like that, Peter started to sink. Doubt can do that. It can sink you, even when you're walking on water. But Peter did the right thing. Peter looked at Jesus and said, Jesus, help me. He didn't look behind him and say, hey guys, get in the boat. Get over here. Help me. He knew who to look to. He knew that Jesus was there. And he knew that Jesus was there to help him. And Jesus did. So with Jesus' help, we can walk on water. Now that doubt has seeped into my water, I won't be able to make anybody float. But you can start over again and dump your water out, put new water in, and use Jesus to help others walk on water. And then see what happens when a little doubt drops in. And you'll see that just like Peter, we'll sink. So guys, remember, not only to have faith, but don't let doubt creep in. Jesus has got you. Have a little faith. All right, we'll see you next week. All right, now that we have seen how Jesus can help how Jesus helped Peter walk on water. There are other things that you can do at home if you'd like to continue the lesson. If you were in our preschool class, you may have made this morning, where you made the water with paper and crayons, added Jesus walking on the water just to represent the story. You can also just color it if you'd like. I know you guys can be creative, so feel free to get your art supplies out and make a representation of Jesus walking on water. You can also just talk about some of the doubts that you do have sometimes with your parents and how we can continue to have faith and show faith to get past some of those doubts. Okay?
So make sure that you have mom or dad take a picture of your drawing or your plate if you're in preschool, or take a picture of you in action with your walking on water with paperclip project. Comment below in the picture section so we can see everything that you guys are doing. As always, we're going to end in prayer, so if you will bow your heads with me. Dear Lord, thank you for bringing us together and giving us the technology to allow us to meet virtually during this time. We appreciate your lessons that you teach us, and we hope to always be able to reach out to you when the seas of life get rough or we need a little extra encouragement. We will use our confidence to pray to you always. Amen.
Amen. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
We miss you.